Welcome to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank Studio. Hope you're having a great day as we continue to celebrate so many incredible people across the great state of Mississippi who are working in the trenches to make this such a great place to live, work, and play. Hey, I got a note from a friend the other day, and he said he hasn't heard me talking about my book lately. And the reason why is I've been deep in the editing process. I've been in conversations with my editor, and just this morning finished the final, I will say 40-second review of the first section, which is 6 lessons. And I feel good about where I landed. And as I tell people when I'm talking about my book, Finding Hope, it is the labor of love. I hope it helps people. I hope it saves people. It may click, it may not. But you know what? At least I can say I did it. I sat down over the past many months since my wife urged me to write, to pull my lessons that I put in that dusty file after Hurricane Katrina. She urged me on the 20th anniversary of Katrina to pull those lessons out and write the book. And it was initially going to be a book about Katrina. So regular listeners know this. It's about, life lessons from Katrina. But what it ended up becoming was a book about how to find hope in our storms. And it could be a natural disaster. It could be just, a friend who's going through silence and you're not sure what to do about it. It's a far-reaching book, and it's been I don't know, one of the most cathartic experiences of my life writing it. So I'm almost done. I'll work the rest of this week into next week, and then I'll be sending it to my editor, who's in fact an absolutely incredible dude. He's a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist and editor, and he's a friend, and he's a great partner to have on this journey. And then we'll start working a little bit. We've got some regional publishers, but I'm going to make a run at a national publisher, and we'll just see. We'll see where we land when it's all said and done. And then you can have access to it and tell me if it helps you find hope. Because I think I've said this about 1,000 times on this show, but everyone's going through something. Some people you can see that, and some people you can't. But everyone's going through something, and that's really the way I start the book. And we learned when all other things were kind of wiped away from our lives after Katrina, what it's like to hold each other up. And there were some powerful lessons that came from that don't just help us through disasters like you're seeing unfold in Jamaica as we speak with Hurricane Helene in the mountains of North Carolina and other areas around there. We don't just see it in those situations, but we see it in the what teens have to face today with the pressures of perfectionism as a result of the scrolls that they take in their social media accounts and whatever. We live in a complicated world, and I'm trying to do a nod toward that and also give some practical advice about maybe how to help yourself and help others. So we will see. That's my update. So listen, I've been looking forward to today because we're following up with my friend Martha Allen from Extra Table with the SNAP benefits thing being out there. There's some, some big time requirements of a nonprofit like Extra Table, and we're going to get an update about that here shortly. So, Martha, how you doing, my friend?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing really good. Hey, listen, you're in the business of seeing people who are looking for ways to find hope. I noticed that when I was talking about what I'm writing about, you were listening intensively. But it rings true in the world that you're in, doesn't it? Huh?
It is. And your story just now, talking about Katrina and the 20-year, it is so relevant to the decisions that we have just made at Extra Table. I don't know if you know my friend Scott Thigpen with Thigpen Wealth Management out of Jackson. Scott is a board member and such a solid voice. And on October 30th and 31st, when Extra Table was deciding what our response was going to be in the face of a government shutdown, in the face of the SNAP benefits ending that following Saturday, Scott told me a story, and he said, Martha, during Katrina, we were running out of baby food. And he said, we couldn't just give one to a mom with 3 kids, or, one, jar of baby food and expect it to last. He was like, we kind of had to do like Jesus and just pass it on out and pray that it's going to come back in. And Scott said, in his situation with Katrina, they gave out or got close to distributing all the baby food. And a truck pulled up with like 15,000 jars of baby food. And he was like, let this be your Katrina. And so, your Katrina lesson, so to say. And I was like, oh, those are some powerful words. And so that Friday Extra Table, we decided to double our donations to our food pantry partners. So there's so many lessons and so much hope that comes out of those difficult days after Katrina. I can't wait to read your book.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, there's a lot there. You know what's interesting, Martha, just to stay on this theme for a second, in the opportunities I have in sharing, the story of Extra Table and drilling down and understanding Robert St. John and what he's gone through and his story of resilience and how he fought his way back to be an entrepreneur and a writer and a producer and, forming Extra Table, and so many stories like that. I've had students who are part of Hope Squad that was put in place in schools in coastal Mississippi. Is starting to spread. Over 2,000 schools in America have Hope Squad now. But it's about, putting a system in place that gives students that are already seen as people that students can talk to, but identifying them and putting them on what's called a Hope Squad and teaching them and helping them, be a shoulder to cry on or someone to talk to. Kids are going to say something to kids that they may not say to their teachers and parents and administrators and so on. That's what Hope Squad's all about. But telling those stories and so many others like it, in 1,700 conversations, as I was writing my book, I could pull so much from the notes that I have taken from each of the shows that I've done. And in some respects, even though the book it's not a book about faith per se, even though there is a particular chapter about that, I feel like there's been some divine intervention in my writing. I really feel like it. And we'll see if I'm able to capture the essence, but thanks for, adding your 10 cents.
But your lessons, just knowing you over the past 7.5 years, every time we have a conversation, I learn something. So I can't wait truly to sit down with your book. And because, it's like, instead of me learning the hard way, I can learn from your lessons and take your knowledge and implement it in what we do at Extra Table. Just like Scott's story made a huge difference in how we're feeding the hungry this month at Extra Table.
Yeah. Okay. Listen, for people who may not have heard you and me talk before, why don't you just give a quick review on what Extra Table is, and then when we come back from break on the other side, we'll get into some of the details of what the SNAP benefit challenge has created for you.
Gladly. So if you are new to Extra Table, we were founded by Chef Robert St. John in 2009. His mother volunteered at a food pantry locally in Hattiesburg, and they were out of food. And it wasn't that the shelves were totally empty. They just didn't have the items, the ingredients, the pantry staples that make whole meals. So Chef St. John shipped for years directly to that food pantry. And about 3 years into it was like, man, I think there's more of a problem in this state than I realized. He sold meals for a living, and he didn't realize that so many were going without in a state that has such high numbers of obesity. He just was like, these factors don't line up. And so our mission statement at Extra Table is we fundraise in order to purchase new, healthy, and shelf-stable food that we deliver every single month to our 66 food pantry partners. And voila, Mississippians are fed. So $95,000 fundraised by 4 staff members and delivered to 66 food pantries with no federal funding.
And as we talk about every time we talk, the administrative costs are covered by another fund. So, every dollar that's given to Extra Table goes to buying food. And $1 can go a long way the way you guys handle it, can it?
It is. We use our buying power. So you donate us your $1, and instead of going to the grocery store and barely getting out of there with a can of green beans, we'll take your $1 and we'll go purchase food like 18-wheeler truckloads direct from the manufacturer. So taking the middleman out of the picture, and we can stretch your dollar much further. So we can do three, almost four meals for $1. And our food
That is
pantries don't have
incredible.
to drive and go pick it up. It doesn't cost them a dime. So it's just much smarter for us to be able to support them in any way we possibly can.
What's awesome about what you've done, as we've discussed on so many shows before, is you've been able to kind of stand the test of time, haven't you?
15 years and counting. Actually, today's the 11th. So we are 15 years and 11 months and 2 days old.
Good
How about
math.
that for counting? Nobody's counting.
Small staff, really focused, lots of work to do. But when we come back on the other side, we'll talk about, the normal course of business of what happens when something like SNAP is delayed. We ought to probably rename the program Snag, but we'll see you on the other side with Martha Allen. We'll see you after this. Welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show. We're visiting with Martha Allen from Extra Table, and we're gonna really kind of drill down on what Extra Table is doing and how these SNAP benefits being delayed and people not getting paid, how that's impacted Extra Table. Before we go there, I just want to mention to you real quick, because I had written a note about this, that you introduced me to Stafford Sheridan, and I'm really thrilled that you did. We had a great show together. For people who don't know Stafford, he's from the Mississippi Delta. He's hitting on a bunch of different cylinders. He wrote a terrific book recently. He's got a restaurant. He's got a podcast called Breaking Bread with Stafford Sheridan. And one of the other things that he does is he goes around the state, really around the South, and he goes to convenience stores and service stations and rates their food. And what you don't, a lot of people, I guess you know this if you're listening to this show, but some of the most creative, some of the best food you're going to find oftentimes are in convenience stores or service stations out in the middle of nowhere, because that's the only place people have to get their food. But I had a great visit with him. I know you guys have actually been working with him, and he's been helping Extra Table. We can talk about that slightly. But thanks for the introduction. I see him being a regular on my show.
Yeah, absolutely. And, just like you, Ricky, it's so nice to work with people that genuinely care about your mission and understand the impact that you can have. And you and Stafford are incredible cheerleaders to have on the Extra Table team. So we're grateful.
Hey, what's cool about him, too, incidentally, is that he's a working farmer. He's got a generational farm, a rather large farm that he does by himself. At the same time, he's got this restaurant and traveling and all the other things that he does. He's a former judge.
He was a judge for a period, yeah.
Right. He hits on a bunch of cylinders. So, great introduction. He'll enjoy hearing you and me connect as it relates to him, because you're right. He's super dedicated to Extra Table. Okay. So during the course of your work on a normal day, you're meeting the needs of food pantries across the state of Mississippi. So the raising money aspect of what you're doing, the buying food aspect of what you're doing, the logistics aspect of what you're doing, getting that food to these pantries is really important. People think about pantries, they immediately go to, and I had to make sure that I added that, they go to the delay in SNAP benefits, and that's certainly part of the challenge. But maybe the bigger challenge is people not getting paid, government people not getting paid. So you're seeing a little bit of all of it. People who would never go to a food pantry for help, they're going now. That's pretty crazy, isn't it?
It is. And it's also, it's the shutdown, it's, inflation, it's our rural state, it's SNAP benefits, but also our pantries have been seeing an increase in the number of people requesting food since late July and receiving less food from other entities. And so, all those parts and pieces put together, a bigger picture, a larger puzzle, so to say. And so when the government shut down and people don't get paychecks, when SNAP benefits end, it's just like dominoes and things just start to topple. And when the tough gets going, Mississippians, we band together and we get even tougher. So, I have all faith in our state and our partners and our donors and our food pantries. We will make it through this together with, our neighbors in need being fed.
Hey, Martha, I think it's important to point this out that while there's a process in place to get the government back open as quickly as possible, the lingering effect of people not getting paid, the lingering effect of on so many different levels, like you just pointed out, there's
Yes.
an exponential impact. It's going to take a little bit of time to unravel that. It's just not something, you click the switch back on, everything's going to be okay. So we need people to kind of wake up to that reality and
Yes.
do everything in your power to help Extra Table in this moment. So how can they help?
So the easiest way is our campaign currently, Meals Matter. Meals Matter and dollars make the difference is something we say regularly at Extra Table. Because like we mentioned before the break, you give me your dollar, I use my buying power, I purchase more food, take the middleman out, and deliver it direct to the food pantry's doorstep. And we need more of that. So at Extra Table, we committed to doubling our donation to our pantry partners, and that food went out starting last Wednesday. So instead of $95,000 worth of food, we're shipping $190,000 worth of food. We distributed 5,400 dozen eggs from Commissioner Andy Gibson and Cal-Maine Foods yesterday. Tomorrow morning, we hit the road with 9,810 chickens, whole chickens, Mississippi grown birds. And we've got 20,000 pounds of rice and trucks of sweet potatoes to get out there because we know that there is a void, a gap. And at Extra Table, we believe we can be a part of that solution. So we're getting more quality, nutritious food to the masses.
That's a lot of food, and every bit of it's going to get used, isn't it?
Every bit of it will be consumed within a week, if not 2 weeks. But I'm just about able to guarantee it'll be gone in 5 days. Our pantries move so much food during the holidays on a normal year, and so during times like this when the numbers are up, and there's also so much fear. About if I'm getting paid, when I'm getting paid, what's going on with SNAP. So people are in line at the pantries, many for the first time.
Listen, think about it. We hear about FAA because that's out there. We hear that all the time. But think about it. Military and anybody that works in the government domain or anybody that is impacted in somehow, in some way by government payments of any sort. I mean, it could be even entrepreneurs that are expecting to get a check based on work that they've done for the governor. There's so many different ways this plays out. But one thing is for sure, the food pantries are seeing families that would have never gone to the food pantry before. I mean, that's their reality,
Correct.
isn't it, Martha?
It is. It's very much so their reality. And, at Extra Table, we say no red tape, just full plates. And that allows us to be nimble and to pivot in difficult times like this, where not everyone has control over their funding sources and where they get their food. But Extra Table does, because we have incredible partners like you, Ricky, and our donors that are all listening, and our partners that we count on, both individuals and corporate, every month in order to put food on the table, so to say. And so those partners have stepped up and are going to continue to step up to help us meet the need.
Easy way to do this is simply just do a search. Go to your search bar and put Extra Table in there. It'll take you to their website. And then it's super
Yes.
easy after that to be able to donate. But man, consider writing a check or just going to that website and making a contribution. They could use it because so you're betting on that coming by doubling the amount of food that you typically send to the food pantries. You're betting that the money's coming.
I believe in our partners. It will come. I believe in our partners, and I believe in the story that we tell and the work that we do. And so that was that Katrina story. Scott said, we're passing out all the baby food, and then a truck pulled up right as we got low. And I know that that's how our partners feel about our work. So we're
Yeah.
we're lean and efficient and mission focused. So I feel like people believe in what we do.
Hey, listen, I'm honored that there are a number of people who listen to the show, business leaders, business owners, CEOs in the community, and remind them about the tax benefit of giving to Extra Table.
You're amazing, Ricky. So we passed a income tax credit, the Food Bank Charitable Organizations tax credit in 2023, and it's so if you pay your income tax or ad valorem taxes, your business to the state of Mississippi with 6 questions and 1 visit to your accountant, you can pay your income tax directly to Extra Table. So you can pay up to 50% of what you owe, your total owe, up to 50% of what you owe to the state. And you get dollar for dollar credit for that. So, what's better than making sure that we have more meals and to feed those food insecure across our state and diverting those funds to Extra Table to feed people.
This is the moment to consider that. I think these moments rally people. These moments create an opportunity for us to say, yeah, we should do it on a regular basis. But I think when there's pain, there's also lubrication to go ahead and act. And this may be one of those moments. I hope that people will go to the Extra Table website, find a way to contribute, help them fill this gap. Because once this doubling up of food that goes out to the food banks is done, then here it comes next week. Gotta distribute again and again. I mean, they wake up every morning, and this is not a one-time flash in the pan. This has been going on, as she pointed out, for a bunch of years, day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, doing what's necessary to get food to people in our communities who need it. And now we have a lot of people going to those food pantries that typically would not be there. They're proud people, man. They wouldn't be there if they didn't need to be there. And that's sad. And we got an obligation to fill those gaps. Anything you want to say in the last 20 seconds?
Extratable.org. If every business or restaurant had an extra table, then everyone would be fed. So learn more about how efficient and effectively we fight food insecurity in Mississippi.
That's it. Martha Allen from Extra Table, thank you for spending some time with me. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Have a great day.
You bet. Singing River Health Talk when we get back. We'll see you after this.